Hey, y'all, there's a nip in the air. It's getting cold now, and it's about that time for Thanksgiving. And I usually smoke a turkey, and I've done it many, many years. You can check out my videos on that. But this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. I haven't done it in a while, but it's incredible. If you've never done it, I'm going to walk you through it, but I'm going to show you how to deep fry a turkey. Let's go. So deep frying a turkey is really awesome, mainly because you're cutting the time down to cook a bird significantly, okay? So the rule of thumb that grandma tells us is about 13 to 15 minutes a pound if you're gonna put one in the oven. And that's probably the same if you're gonna smoke one. It's about the same general rule of thumb. But when you deep fry a turkey, that time is cut down to 3.5 minutes a pound. So I've got a 12.04 pound bird, and it's going to take just under 45 minutes to cook that thing. Now, the secret to deep frying a bird, in my opinion, is to inject it. And you'll see people, oh, don't use a butter injection because it doesn't seal up the hole because it's not water-based. You don't need an injection if you deep fry a turkey. And also, oh, you don't have to brine one, or, oh, you have to brine it if you're going to deep fry, right? So it's all opinionated. And as I've said, do what you want to do, and it's probably going to taste good, right? Everybody's got different tastes and flavors. Otherwise, we wouldn't have 50 billion different kinds of ice cream, right? So do what you want to do. Use a recipe if you want. I usually browse around and I pick parts of recipes I like. I don't listen to any of them. And what kills me is you go online to find a recipe for something, particularly a turkey injection, and you have to sift through like 5 pages of this person's life story before you finally get to the recipe all the way at the bottom. Like, I just think that is stupid. So here we go. So normally I would brine this turkey. I brine it for at least 24 hours, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just not. And mainly because I just got this thing. I'm trying to get this video out before Thanksgiving to let everybody have some time to be able to prep themselves for this. And the one thing I see about deep frying a turkey, as far as reluctance goes, is that people are scared of it. They're scared. And I can see why. There's a lot of videos out there of people, shooting 400-degree oil all over the backyard because they're fucking stupid. And that's what it boils down to, okay? 3, 2, 1, go! Oh! Now, I treat deep frying a turkey the same way I treat electricity. Like, you don't have to be afraid of it. You just have to respect it, and you have to be careful. So we're going to forego the brining part, but as I said earlier, the best part of this is the injection. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's the injection. And I came up with this because I do a lot of pulled pork, and I always coat the pork shoulder or pork butt in mustard, then use brown sugar. And I don't know, for some reason it just sounded like it would be good as an injection. So we're going to start with 2 cups of water, half a cup of brown sugar. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of mustard. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. Now, this came from New Mexico. I just grew up eating this, but you can use cayenne pepper, whatever you want. Red chili powder, that'll work too. And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then we're going to finish with 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. So you can do this in a saucepan. I'm just going to nuke this in the microwave for a couple minutes to get it nice and hot, and then pour everything in there and stir it up, and then I'll use that same container to pull the liquid out into my injector. Okay, so I've got the solution ready, and you can tell that this is just the breast. So this 12-pound bird here without the legs or the wings or anything like that. And normally I do a 4 and 4 injection. But since we don't have the drumsticks on here, I'm just going to do 3 on this side and 3 on that side. So it takes a little bit of practice. when you're doing an injection. And one of these things here, one thing you need to know is, this has mustard in it, and I ended up putting it in a saucepan because there were just too many like coagulants of the mustard. So this one I just stir a little bit just to keep the mustard as liquidy as I can instead of clumping up, because it's going to go through here. I got this on Amazon. It looks like a Dr. Frankenstein needle, but you want to do this nice and slow. And I wouldn't, this injector here, when you look at it, it has measurements. So half a teaspoon, 1.5, 2. And I just start with, really just half, right? So I'm going to put, go here where the half mark is, and then pull it up here. And then you want to go real slow. So you're going to inject this way in there. And as you inject the liquid, you want to slowly pull it out. If you inject it too quick, it's going to squirt out and it's going to get all over you. Okay, so if you're just learning how to do this, the trick is just to go slow. So let's get into it. All right, so last thing I'm going to do is coat this thing with some ground black pepper. And some people, you don't want to put a rub on there because it burns as soon as you put it in. I don't know. I kind of like that flavor. And like I said, you do what you want. And next time, if it turns out you don't like that flavor, then next time, don't do it. So my other turkey fryer doesn't work. Guess it's a good thing I practiced, but yeah, that thing right back there, the temperature sensor doesn't work, so it's not staying on. So plan B, I'll use this camping set, and let's see, it should get it up. We only need the oil at 350 degrees, so that should be good. Although this did delay my cook by about a half hour. Boo, but let's get it going. So the best way to figure out how much oil you need for this is to put the turkey in there first and then get a 1 gallon jug of water and just fill it up and count how many jugs you need. Because you don't want to fill this up first, because if you got 350 degree oil and you stick the bird down in there and you find out you put too much in there, well then it's going to overflow and then it just gets messy. So you can see I've got cardboard down here. Sometimes I just do it in the yard somewhere, but this is a nice flat area. So yeah, let's start warming this up. It'll probably take about a half hour to fill 4.5 gallons of oil up. And that's 4.5, well, that's 30 minutes with that one over there. But I already hear it sizzling, so that's good. We'll just see how it goes. But I'm going to cover it up and put the thermometer on it. You can already hear it. All right, so here's the moment of truth. We're almost at 350. We'll put this in nice and slow. The skin is dry. Just go nice and slow.
Way too much.
Okay, so had a little bit of spillage there because when I originally did the oil, I had a regular, I don't know what you call it, a little thing that goes up through the middle of it to lay down. But because of the way this thing is cut, it doesn't have any legs or wings. And so there wasn't any way for it to sit on that skewer thing. So I'm using a basket. Well, the extra volume of that basket, or the whatever you want to call it, took up more volume inside there. So I got some spillage, but I just turned the heat down a little bit. Looks like it's gonna be okay. So this will be 3.5 minutes per pound. So we're looking at a 43-minute time. So I set my timer and we'll just see how it goes. Now I'm gonna pull this thing once it gets to an internal temperature about 155 degrees because it'll keep cooking, okay? And it'll eventually hit that 165. That way we won't overcook it and we'll have a perfect bird. Oh yeah, so right in there. Yep. There you go. Pull out just a little bit and then tell me what it says.
160, 180.
Oh.
168, 168.
All right.
Not 180, 168.
So, should have took it out a little bit sooner, but that's all right.
160.
Okay, so a lot of things going against me here on this cook. You know, I didn't have the regular turkey deep fry that I had because the contraption was broken. It's been so long, I totally forgot about it. I saw that camping, or you saw the camping thing that I used that just didn't quite get me up to 350. So after 43 minutes, it was at like 135, 136 degrees internal. So I put it in for another 15 minutes, but I was talking too much and I forgot the freaking timer even after my wife told me it went off. And so when I finally went over there and pulled it out, it was at like 168, which is way over what I want to pull. I usually want to pull this thing about 155 because it's going to cook. All it has to do is hit 165 for like 30 seconds and then we're good. But it's crispy. It looks like it's burnt, but I don't know, man. Don't be fooled by that. It just, like, to me, without all the drumsticks and everything, it just looks like this brain, like this hive mind, like thing. But let's cut into it, and I'm gonna cheat. I got my little electric cutter, and then let's just see what happens. But I'd rather do this a month before Thanksgiving and find out on Thanksgiving Day that all this stuff was jacked up. So here we go. Oh man, that's sliced like butter and there's juice coming out everywhere. Yeah, you can see right where the injection is. You can see right here. So I cut, well, that was a pretty lucky cut actually. So there it is. Whoa, man, that is crispy. So I'm gonna turn that over and I'm gonna cut this up. Okay, and I let this thing rest for about 10-15 minutes. And that is the trick, man. You have to let this stuff rest. Otherwise, it just does such a disservice, because as soon as you cut into it, all that juice is going to come out. People are going to be disappointed, and it's just not going to be a good cook. So I'm going to get the chef's cut right here. Look at that. Crispy skin. It's so juicy. It's still kind of hot. I should probably wait a little bit longer, but I just can't do it. So the skin is really crispy, like it is burnt, you can tell. But you can taste that cracked black pepper on there. I think this is pretty good, man. Like, I'm gonna call this a win. Even with the struggle that I had on it. Here we go.
That is juicy.
Bingo. So there you go. That's all I gotta do. Follow it to a T. I'll post the recipe for the injection down in the comments. Have a good Thanksgiving.